first working set. I did the first warm up off camera. Bent rows, this is upper session 2 of 3 of the week. Currently doing upper, lower, upper, lower, upper. This one's pull emphasized, so we're starting with the bent rows. You can play with exercise order to get a little more out of it. So if I were to put my push work at the beginning of this workout and then the pull work after it, over the course of a year or 2 years of doing that, my chest would grow a little bit more than my back. So that's a way you can emphasize things. If you don't want to emphasize something, you can mix it up. So Monday or upper session 1, for instance, had all my push work first. Currently dealing with a little bit of shoulder annoyance here. I was playing pickleball and decided to overhead spike one pretty aggressively. So sometimes on my horizontal pressing, I get a little bit of deep annoyance there, not like pinching or stabbing or anything. So chest volumes drop down a little bit, focusing on things that don't really hurt it. The number one thing you can do with an ache and a pain, if you don't think it's crazy serious, find exercises in the same movement pattern that don't hurt it. Do those, build up strength in those. Do deep, full ranges of motion, nice and slow. And then it's likely over time through that work and that training getting stronger that the injury might be a little bit better. What you don't want to do is not move, rest, don't do anything. Typical medical advice for like the last 20 years, basically. Two sets in, already getting a really good pump. This is week 3 of training, so we're doing 1 repetition in reserve. Next week will be 0 repetitions in reserve. Remember, you always want to be going a little bit closer to failure each week. This is a really awesome tool to make sure that you're able to either add load or add reps each week so that we can just bring progressive overload in here, give it a nice big hug, making it one of the family. You'll notice at the bottom position of these bent rows, of these dumbbell rows, that I'm actively trying to protract the scapula and let the shoulder reach down just a little bit more. That little extra range of motion, if it doesn't cause any pain, it's gonna get you that much more back growth, because we know that that stretch position is where you're gonna be growing a good portion of your muscle. Week 3 efforts are pretty high, so especially on the heavier ones, trying to catch the breath a little bit. Just remember, if you're resting and you're still breathing like this, and you decide to go into another set, you're likely costing performance and you're costing muscle growth. You want to make sure you're prepared to lift the weight with your best effort so that your muscle is the limiting factor. Also adding 2 sets to this workout from last time, so a pretty big jump. So far in this meso, quads, hamstrings, glutes, and chest, I'm getting quite sore. Back still not really, hasn't felt it as much this past week. So we're making a pretty big, or a bigger volume jump. All I can think about right now is cereal. If you haven't tried post-workout cereal with Fairlife milk, a cup and a half of the milk in the cereal, you'll get like 25-ish grams of protein, and it's delicious. Captain Crunch is what's going in after this workout. And yeah, I'm currently cutting. The macros on a bowl of cereal with that good milk is really not that crazy. You can get in for like 480 calories, 25 grams of protein. Yeah. I'm just gonna start daydreaming about it if I don't watch myself. You can kind of experiment with this a little bit. What I'm currently doing is, once I get to a point where 1 rep can't come down and touch, I count that as 1 RAR. So 2 RAR is, I know the next rep isn't going to be able to touch my chest. Go back up, stops here. That's 1 repetition in reserve. Go again, might stop here. That's failure. Try it out. The reason it's super cool is because, again, that biggest stretch position up here, big stretch to the lats, that big pull right there, that's where you're gonna get a lot of growth. So it's just, it's like a intensity technique, kind of mixing that concept with length and partials. And then some arms and some abs. And then we're calling it a day. 210.2 after the maintenance phase, body weight. I think we're gonna find a nice sweet spot somewhere in the mid 190s. I think it'll be a really good sweet spot for us. Nice and lean. I think I may have found something for me that helps my shoulder pain. It's actually having a little bit less of an arc. So I was experimenting around with that on that set. Instead of a bigger arc, kind of like this, a little bit less, more straight up and down. That felt really good, but the variation of that set was kind of wonky. Something you can do is agonist to antagonist supersets. So meaning, I currently just did bicep curls right about after my cardiovascular recovered, but before my chest and triceps recovered, because my biceps are just sitting here chilling, they're fine. So I got in a set of that while my chest and triceps are on cooldown. Drastically shortened your time in the gym a little bit. It's not straight from one thing to another. You could do that to really cut down on your time, but I gave myself a little bit of rest. But let's say I would have rested a minute and a half before doing my next bench press set. After about 30 seconds, I went and did bicep curls, then at 30 seconds after that, give or take after this talk, we'll go back into close grip bench. So essentially you're cutting off 1 unit of rest time. It's pretty cool. I had some negative experiences with caffeine. I was kind of accidentally just ramping it up a little bit. So kind of brought that back down into a normal range. But also I'm trying to cut my caffeine off at a reasonable time before bed. Because even if you don't know it, your sleep quality can be degraded from caffeine use. So not only am I taking a smaller dose, a very small dose, I'm cutting it off really early in the day. Like I stopped at noon, and I'm trying to go to bed around 9 or 10. And even on some days I try to be a little bit more aggressive with that. But didn't quite sleep amazingly last night, so I wanted a little bit of help getting through this one. But more often than not, I'm trying to cut off around 11. If you're having caffeine in the afternoon, evening, you are playing yourself. Unless you just pair that with other hard drugs, you know. I'm sure cocaine could get you through the night, whatever you gotta do. You know, gains at any cost. Playing around with different elbow positions because I have like a tingle that'll go down on my left arm on heavy bicep curls. I notice if I rotate a little slower, it doesn't do anything, but actually what I'm pretty sure I just figured out is it only starts doing it when I shrug like an idiot because it's getting hard. So I'm tucking those shoulders down, trying to be really strict. Ow. I think my body's running out of blood flow to get anywhere else in my body. Lungs, digestive tract, brain, forget about it. It's all going towards chest, back, arms, and now abs. So, if you get like a Amber Alert, but for me, that I'm missing, it's because on my way home, my brain is just like, we're out, and I passed out. And then someone stole me. I'm very stealable.